Well, hello everybody. John Boucher here, Christian conservative activist, a member of the Lone Star Groundwater Conservation District Board also. Tomorrow night, you CEC members will be holding your County Republican Party organizational meeting. Man, how exciting is that? You're going to be adopting new bylaws that you'll be under for the next 2 years. Now, as many of you are aware, we did this 2 years ago, and we went through this very same process. And then for the next 24 months following that process, we had a group of people who not only refused to accept the new bylaws, but denied that we even had to have an organizational meeting and questioned the threshold by which bylaws are adopted. For 2 years that went on, until finally in October of 2018, that matter was settled by the Republican Party of Texas decisively in a decision, unanimous decision, saying that it's a majority required, simple majority of those present and voting, and yes, an organizational meeting was required by law. But even so, even after that was settled, you still had a group of people causing trouble, and that still persists to this day. But if we learned anything from that experience, it's that the County Executive Committee must have some way to enforce the bylaws that they adopt. And you have an opportunity to fix this. So for those of you who think the law will hold the CEC members accountable to this, you're incorrect. And let me tell you why. Because while Section 31.004 of the Texas Election Code provides that the Secretary of State shall assist and advise all election authorities with regard to the application, operation, and interpretation of that code and the election laws outside of that code, we learned quickly that the Secretary of State will not get involved in the organization of a political party and political party disputes. This is even in cases where the county chairman declares the election code invalid, as ours did, when he said, this is my private organization and was not formed in accordance with Section 171.021 of the Texas Election Code. So we had that problem. And without that interpretation / clarification and support of the Secretary of State, the RPT was pretty powerless to do anything. And all they could really do was issue a stern reprimand saying that our county chairman disgraced the party. And they should have been able to cut him loose under the freedom of association of the First Amendment, but they were not able to do that because the rules lacked that clarification. So through that process and dealing with the RPT and the Secretary of State, we found that when a county chair or any member of the County Executive Committee violates the rules of the party, the only sort of remedy you can seek is through the courts. You got to go find a magistrate, and all they can do, you can then file a lawsuit for some sort of specific performance under what's called a writ of mandamus. It's expensive, it causes a party dispute, it's divisive, it's just not a good way to go. But that's all you can do, and you got to keep doing this over and over. And if your language in your bylaws doesn't specifically outline the disciplinary action for violation of the rules, you're kind of stuck, because what can you seek a judgment for? You can't have them specifically perform anything or else, because there's no or else. So you need to have that. So at your organizational meeting, you're going to get 2 sets of bylaws in front of you. One set, which is being offered up by Chairman-elect Brian Crist, contains no accountability for anyone violating party rules. So for example, when a CEC member or county chair works with Democrats or perhaps forms a shadow party, as they did over the last 2 years because they didn't like the bylaws, there's nothing you can do. You will just have the choice to be silent and allow the damage to the Republican Party brand to be done, and you'll have this divided party in a bunch of turmoil again, since you won't be able to remove the offenders, and that's not a good situation. The other set of bylaws you will see will contain language that will hold every single member of the CEC, which includes the county chair, by the way. It'll hold everyone accountable to do the jobs that they were elected to do. And because this is such a serious matter, under the proposed bylaws, if a violation occurs, it would take a full 2/3 majority of the entire CEC to take any sort of disciplinary action against the offending member. Yet even with that high threshold, there are those who oppose that accountability, and that should tell you something. You know what their intentions are. Now, I heard the chairman-elect is arguing that such language of removal violates the law. Well, let's forget for a moment that we've already discussed that the Secretary of State will not concern himself with the affairs of the political party organization. And let's look at the Supreme Court precedent on this. It has established quite a precedent of cases in which it supports a political party's organizing as they see fit. So, for example, if you research EU versus the San Francisco Democrat Party, Tajan versus the Republican Party of Connecticut, the NAACP versus Alabama, Cousins versus Wagoda, you will find that in all of these Supreme Court decisions, it upholds the rights of political parties to organize as they see fit, even when the rules of the party conflict with state law. So in closing, I'm encouraging you to insist on accountability within the bylaws for everyone, and in doing so, you will unite the party. We have a big election coming up in November, and we can't have a divided party again with members of our own party forming groups like the Republican Voters of Texas PAC and being at the polls working alongside Democrats fighting against Republicans as they did the last time in 2018. We can't have that again. So you, the CEC, you have an opportunity to really unite the party tomorrow night, and I hope that you will take that opportunity. Your party, your county, your state, and President Donald Trump is counting on you. God bless you.